Thank you, Nick. Live broadcast. Anything can happen. Well, hello, friends. Welcome back to Saturday Evenings Posted Mostly presents Weekly Broken News with me, your host, Trevor Stewart. Kat points out that mute buttons are fun. I would like to remind you all that this is not a news show, and this is not a news show, and I am not a journalist. All of the opinions expressed herein are 100% correct and verifiable as opinions. So, this evening, let us begin with something from All Things Finance. To quote, "Confused Trump makes incoherent remarks during speech. On Thursday, Trump was given a speech in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, when he appeared to become momentarily disoriented." Unquote. My question to this is, how could you tell? I mean, he is, very smart, the smartest, and after all, he did pass that cognitive assessment. But, doesn't he kind of usually sound incoherent and disoriented? And moving right along to more political opinions, something from the Messenger.com. John Cusack feels we have Nazis running for office in the United States. To quote the article, not to quote the article. John Cusack has strong feelings about the upcoming election, but you really can't tell by looking at his face. The GOP Iowa caucus was this last Monday night, where a certain former president encouraged Republicans to get out and vote for him, even if it meant endangering their own welfare in the sub-zero weather in Iowa. In this mostly for show rally of self-aggrandizement. And it made me think of the quote that I recently heard from Trey Crowder, who will be appearing at the Paramount in Charlottesville in, as of the taping of this show, a few hours. So if you are in Charlottesville and can, go get your tickets and go see Trey Crowder. He is quite funny. He bills himself as the liberal redneck. So, to quote Trey Crowder, "It's like Jonestown if Jim Jones ended up not drinking the Kool-Aid and then went off and started World War III. And moving on to more weather-based news. From Baron Fallon's Fox News, quote, "Chicago area Tesla charging stations lined with dead cars and freezing cold. A bunch of dead robots out here." As temperatures across the nation have reached record lows, although not as low as the depths of self-delusion of the GOP, as evident by the results of the caucus, EV batteries, not to be confused with that thing that powers the evolutions to Umbreon. Pokey joke. Yes. EV batteries have been losing life faster than Joe Biden. Too soon? And charging stations have gotten more backed up than insert poop joke here. The excessively cold temperatures have caused the efficiency of charging stations and the batteries to drop faster than Vic Ramaswamy's chances of getting a nomination in the GOP. Drop faster than Marianne Williams and Dean Phillips' chances of getting a Democratic nomination? Who's Marianne Williams and Dean Phillips? Exactly my point. The difference between the GOP and Democratic also-rans is that at least the Dems are keeping their humiliation private by comparison. Yeah. Moving on to something from Fox News 5. Plane lands on Loudoun County Parkway in Virginia. This is the most exciting thing to happen to Loudoun County since they got the largest and fastest growing data hub in the world. Otherwise, they're known for the largest network of dirt roads in Virginia. Well, I guess it's lucky that the plane found a paved road to hit, isn't it? At least Loudoun County was in the news recently for Superintendent Scott Ziegler, whose sentencing has apparently been put off once again. Oh well. Next up from the WAPO, Tucker Carlson's revealing ignorant disparagement of the vice president. I really don't care about what Tucker Carlson has to say about, well, anything. But the wonderful use of language in this article really should be appreciated. To quote Philip Bump, the article's author, "There's admittedly not much reason to pay attention to Tucker Carlson these days. You remember Tucker, the guy who used to wear bow ties and then became a primetime host on Fox News, to Russia's delight, before losing his job for unclear reasons and being relegated to the social media network for people too far right-wing for Truth Social. He is still saying things, and those things are still as close to explicitly racist as you can get without the ghost of Bull Connor appearing while you sleep to applaud him." Sorry, this always makes me laugh. His response to the results of the Iowa caucuses were no different. The rest of the article is chock full of similarly funny and biting wit. We recommend you go check it out for yourself. Now, sometimes you read the headline and you realize it's enough. There's nothing I can do to improve on this. From Newsweek, Mike Johnson acknowledges Joe Biden's presidency is God's will. Yeah. I can't touch that. Moving on to Scripps News on MSN.com. Authorities warning about nationwide jury duty scam. From the article, Chief U.S. District Judge Timothy J. Corrigan and U.S. Attorney Roger B. Handberg issued a public warning on Monday in an effort to prevent more people from falling prey to such scams. Their statement says scammers are posing as U.S. Marshals or other government officials, claiming that the individuals will be arrested for not appearing for jury duty unless they pay a fine. If someone calls and threatens you to pay them to not be arrested for missing federal jury duty, you are being scammed, Handberg said. The scammers can be convincing, Handberg warns. Handberg warns. There we go. Keep wanting to call them Hamburg and Warms, but there are no M's in that. Some of them reportedly provide a potential victim's address, date of birth, names of federal judges, and case numbers. Corrigan reminds people that if they are selected for jury duty, they will receive a summons by mail. He adds that the court will never ask for banking information over the phone. If a person fails to show up for jury duty after receiving a legitimate summons, Corrigan notes, that the person could be asked to appear before a judge, but the order would be in writing and signed by the judge. A fine will never be imposed until after an individual has appeared in court and been given the opportunity to explain their failure to appear. The joint statement from Corrigan and Handberg says, people who believe they are a victim of jury duty scam are asked to report the incident to the Federal Trade Commission and their local FBI field offices. Scams aren't funny. Moving along to something that might be, and a segment that is an old favorite here, escaped animals or Ark on the Lam. Have y'all heard of the Welsh tidying mouse that cleans up after the messy photographer with whom it lives? I don't actually have a punchline here. Sometimes you can't really improve on reality, as with the earlier headline. From The Guardian, the headline reads, House proud Welsh mouse may be tidying for fun, scientists say. This mouse has been caught on camera tidying up after the photographer. The photographer was wondering who kept putting away his stuff that he'd leave out, and so he set up cameras, caught the mouse tidying. Sometimes I just feel like Disney is creeping over into the real world too quickly. Like, I know they have a monopoly on entertainment at the moment, but we don't need them to have a monopoly on reality, too. I'm fine with waking up to birdsong as a bunch of incomprehensible tweets and chirps, but if I start waking up to the birds really singing at me, I'm going to have to put a rule of silence in place until at least 10 a.m. Moving on to several headlines from WDBJ7. First up, Lee County, Florida. Deputy rescues injured bobcat while on patrol. And in true Florida style, the deputy is pictured holding the injured bobcat next to his face. Because there's nothing more calm and safer than an injured bobcat. From Glendale, Arizona, firefighters rescue pet goat from a rooftop. The Glendale Fire Department called the rescue a rooftop rodeo. Makes me wonder if it was their first rodeo. Moving on to Monrovia, California. Family finds bear sleeping in crawl space under their home. The bear was seen on an exterior camera wandering around the house in the early morning hours, and the door to the unfinished crawl space was found torn apart. Quote, this morning I got pots and pans and banged it, and I had my leaf blower. I took it down there and turned it on, but it didn't budge. I don't know what woke this one up and decided to come over here. I've heard of it happening before, but I just thought, why me? To quote the homeowner. Eventually, with no parties being harmed, the bear did move on. No word if it's heading to St. Louis or Texas at the moment. And moving on to something from Live Science. World's tiniest fanged frog with males that hung their bodies discovered. I almost don't want to go on. To quote the article, the fact that some frogs have teeth may come as a surprise to me. In fact, many frog species have tiny teeth that line their upper jaw, though these are near invisible in most. However, the 70-plus species of genus Limonectus are known for the more notable fang-like protrusions on their lower jaws. This is going to haunt my nightmares. To quote Flippin' Hyper, don't trust the frogs. Some of the frogs in the genus are huge, such as Blythe's river frog, which can weigh over 2.2 pounds. Fanged frogs, plural. And not only are these tiny ones, but there are larger frogs with fangs. Swear I've had to fight these in Dungeons and Dragons before. Moving on before my nightmares get too infested, to some more human news from Reason.com, December 6th of 2023. FBI seized $86 million from people not suspected of any crime. A federal court will decide if that's legal. To quote the article, the agents were tasked with cataloging contents of the boxes, but they also seized piles of valuables, gold coins, luxury watches, family heirlooms, and stacks of cash from people who had not been charged with any crimes. And they did that despite being told by the warrant authorizing the raid that the contents of the safe deposit boxes were off limits. This all kind of depends on the perspective of those geofence warrants that were mentioned last week. A quote we here did not receive from one of the agents. What safe deposit boxes? What contents? The boxes that don't exist didn't have anything in them. Wink, wink. And moving right along before I get myself in any more trouble, from MoneyWise. This Washington couple took $15,000 IRS bill to the Supreme Court, and it could cost the U.S. a jaw-dropping $340 billion if they win, pundits say. The short version of the story is that the Moores invested in a company in Indiana, gaining 13% ownership. Then, quote, when Congress passed President Donald Trump's signature Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, TCJA, it placed a levy on U.S. taxpayers who owned more than 10% of a foreign company. This landed them with a tax bill just shy of $15,000, which they dutifully paid even though they had not seen any return on that investment yet. Now, they want a refund on that tax payment, arguing that the tax is unconstitutional because anything Trump did might have been unconstitutional. And an unappropriate direct tax in violation of the Constitution's apportionment requirements. In simple terms, the couple believes that the government has no right to tax unrealized gains, which is sort of kind of what we fought a war about back in 1776. Just saying. Taxation without representation. The government, of course, disagrees with this view and is claiming that the only requiring taxes on gains that have been realized could lead to increased economic distortions, create policy uncertainty, and reduce federal revenue. Not like this isn't already a problem. They just this week pushed the next government shutdown back to March because of it. Anywho, others are concerned that a ruling in favor of the Moors will lead to an increased wealth disparity as the wealthy hold on to assets strategically and look to find opportunities that allow them to avoid paying tax altogether. Again, don't they do this already? In fact, wasn't that what the Tax Act was about? There's also a concern that the brand new Billionaires Income Tax Act will be affected or stopped altogether. FBI, financial flim-flam foolishness, funky fiduciary findings for its federal fold. Aha! Flip-flop-flap filings, FBI flat into freefall. Furthermore, Fed's financials in flux for faux fees and faulty figures. I just saw that now. And I nailed it. Okay. I got it mostly right in one take. Oof. Hi, Wasabi! Good to see you. Thank you for showing it up. We are on to the commercial break portion, where I'm also going to interact with chat. How's everybody out there in chat doing this evening? Wasabi, are you streaming at the moment? From Wasabi, not too bad, a little under the weather. Well, we're sorry you're feeling under the weather. We hope you feel better quickly. Tis the season for everybody to be getting something. Wasabi says literally everyone around has been getting ill. And yeah, it's pretty much just about everybody I've run into recently has either just gotten over a cold or is just getting one. You thought you'd missed it, Wasabi, but nope, it got you in the end. Yeah. That is sort of the way it goes. I mean, you think, I'm gonna be safe. And then at the last second, right before you're about to touch home base, they tag you out. Well, now is the time in the show when we bring you a word from our advertisers, and this week's word is sesquipedalian. Sesquipedalian. And it is. Sesquipedalian means verbose, florid, sometimes even a little blank. See, this is me drawing a blank. That word that I'm totally blanking on now. Redundant. Verbose. Yes, I already said that. Redundant. Oh, said that too. Sesquipedalian means to explain or speak with long words and rather pedantically. And so it is one of those words that falls under its own definition. Sesquipedalian is rather a sesquipedalian word. Needlessly using complicated words, Cat says. Now is the time in the show when we would like to thank our friends and our associates, like our associate producer, Kat. who provides our words from our sponsors, advertisers, such as Sesquipedalian. And also, of course, yeah, we had the tongue twister. It was right before the commercial break. You want me to do it again? Because this is something that Kat does. This is one of the things that Kat really, really excels at, is doing these great tongue twisters. All right, here we go. Here we go. For you, Wasabi. FBI financial flim-flam foolishness? Funky fiduciary findings force federal fold? Aha! Flip-flop-flap filings FBI fiat into freefall. Furthermore, feds financials in flux for faux fees and faulty figures. I did it better the first time. Yeah. So that's the kind of thing that we, really heavily rely on Kat for. This would not be possible without you, Kat. Thank you very much for everything you're doing. And everything you're doing outside of the show, just in general with the channel, such as the Skylar ghost hunts that are coming up. I really, really appreciate you taking the initiative on that, as you have. And yes, Wasabi says, thanks, Kat. You're doing God's work right now. Yes, you are. Oh, yeah, there is one at the end of the break, too. We would also like to thank our correspondents, our UK correspondent, Who's That Girl? It's Jess. And our Canadian correspondent, Robbie Nova, both of whom are streamers here on Twitch or over there on Twitch if you're watching this on YouTube. We would also like to plug our channel friends who have merch stores, such as Who's That Girl? Dasin __ and Akika Calday. And you can get their merch over at their merch stores on Stream Elements and Streamlabs. Who's That Girl is at merch.streamelements.com/Who's That Girl. Dasin is at store.streamelements.com Dasin __ and Akika is at streamlabs.com/AkikaCallday/merch. And, of course, let us not forget the inimitable Jeffy Millimeter, who has started his own activewear brand called Emerald, which we are still hoping to get the shirt from very soon so that we can show you the quality merchandise that he is making over there. The motto, to quote Jeffy, 100%, the motto is see into the future. And you can find that at emeraldbrandproject.com. We would also like to thank the talented digital artist, Marina Ian, at Human Tech Art, who we will be working with again soon, who did the album cover art for Fig Pucker Funk. We will be working with her as soon as we can afford to hire outside help again. My well-sound echo has come back again. Oh no. I wonder why. yes. Well, we will be working with Marina Ian again as soon as we can afford to hire out. Is that any better? We will pause while I try and fix this audio issue. Check. Okay. I'm quieter? Am I still quieter, even though I haven't done anything yet? In fact, what did I do? Oh, I know what I did. Okay. Am I still quieter? We also, now is the time in the show when we shout out our dear friends here on Twitch, or over there, again, on Twitch, if you're watching this on YouTube. Angela, Angela, who is a wonderful streamer, just a very kind person. Send Noodles, Moosies, Busy Bell, Metamorpheus, Sleepy Scrubs, Evie something, and Kiwi007, who are all sort of... I've found them all... Well, found all of them through D'Angela first, but Busy Bell sort of branched me out into all of these very... Oh, thank you, Wasabi. Wasabi says I sound good on that side, so... I found all of these very supportive and kind communities sort of through Busy Bell, and I find that the people that she surrounds herself with tend to be very, very decent human beings, good people. The same with D'Angela. She really tends to surround herself with really kind, good people. We'd also like to shout out Bex Bexy, Baby Groot 95, Ghoulish Cutie, DJ Lockpick, and the whole No Pants Sunday raid train, Retro Future Now, who should be playing Dungeons & Dragons with Lockpick, spelled Lockpique, by the way. Lock, pique your interest. DJ Lumi242, DJ Jadzia Dax, if you're ever wanting a fun bit of music to go with your rock de chino, or if you're a true Klingon warrior, your prune juice, head over and check out Jadzia Dax. And of course, the last but definitely not least, our dear friend, and someone who is in the chat today, the amazing Wasabi, who you should definitely check out. Also, over on YouTube, the shorts are just so much fun. They are chef's kiss great. Wasabi says, "Aye!" Flaming hands. Yes. Again, Wasabi also sort of falls into this very comfortable, cozy, and supportive and kind sort of streamer corner of Twitch that I've found that I really like. We love you too, Wasabi. Much love to Wasabi. I'm very thankful for these supportive communities that I have found on Twitch, because they came at a time when I was needing support and community. And these people really helped me through some dark, dark times. So, thank you guys very much. And now I'd like to move on to shout out a few YouTube friends as well. The talented music producers, Pan's Delight, and Paula Haunt. Thank you, Wasabi. Wasabi said thank you for being you. Y'all gonna make me blush. Y'all gonna make me cry, and my makeup gonna run too. Pan's Delight and Paula Haunt, who are both very talented music producers over on YouTube, and just, cranking out music. They are, watching them continue to put out banger track after banger track has been just awesome. We'd also like to shout out our friend Alex INTP. She is a visual artist, very whimsical visual artist, and she is a writer, publishing under the name Mango Pudding over on Wattpad. The novel is called Black Eyes, and it's worth checking out. It's, again, I say whimsical. It's high fantasy, but very poignant and very that word when something has to do with what's going on right now in people's lives. Anyway, it's very that. Close, man. Keep losing these words, and it's only going to get worse the older I got. I've watched it happen to my mother, and I watched it happen to my grandmother. And there's going to be a time when I just can't remember any words whatsoever. I'm going to be looking for that word that means word. Word. We would also like to shout out Lucy 2001, who is a talented young actress off the coast of Scotland. We have enjoyed her YouTube shorts immensely. And if we are ever making a movie, if we ever have the budget to hire her, we will. She is high on the list on the casting list. Finally, we would like to thank our friends who are not on this platform, on these platforms, starting with our dear, dear friend O'Shea of O'Shea's Beautiful Things over at o'sheasbeautifulthings.com. Go check out her beautiful things. They are beautiful. She has recently moved back into my area, so I'm hoping to get to spend more time with her soon. We would also like to shout out North Yorkshire's own artist extraordinary, Jennifer Weston, a dear lifelong friend and incredibly talented and skilled artist. I feel like she has a show going on somewhere right now, and I'm just completely blanking it. I will see if by next week I can come up with some places you may be able to see her artwork. Our associate producer wishes to give a shout out to @FritzFishing over on TikTok. Good luck working on the not problem with the leader lines. It occurs to me that they could try solving their not problem like Alexander the Great. but then they'd need to get more leader line. All right. Now we have a tongue twister that doesn't necessarily fit with a specific segment for you this week. This is a tongue twister I wrote for myself. Sheila surfs Sandy... Shucks. Sheila surfs Sandy Shore... Double shocks. Sheila surfs Sandy Soldier's shoulders, singing silent serenades of surplus standard shenanigans for strawberry sherbet. Whew. I got through it. It's the soldier's shoulders. That one, because it's the reversing of those phrases, of those sounds. Okay. Thank you, Wasabi. Wasabi said that I sounded good. Thank you. Thank you. Now, in a massive oversight, I completely forgot to get myself a cup of coffee before this started, or get myself more water to drink. So, we're gonna have to try and do this the rest of this show with Cottonmouth. But I think we can do it. From the Midwest to a great northern neighbor to the north, Canada, I'm Michigan, and this is What's Up North, eh? And first off, from the Salem Reporter, November 30th of 2023, Treasurer sues Polk County, alleges officials block him from doing his job. Steve Milligan was elected to the position of treasurer in 2020, but says that, despite Oregon law, the County Board of Supervisors and Administrator have transferred treasurer duties to others and refused to allow the duly elected official to access his office. I thought that's what remote work was all about. Quote, Milligan's lawsuit seeks a judge's order that would force Polk County to not block its elected treasurer from carrying out their duties. The complaint also seeks up to $300,000 in damages and back pay. The county has said that, quote, Polk County was a $58 million operation that needed a finance manager with special qualifications, training, and experience. The county cannot let the electoral process play out and hope for the best. Polk County is not one of the 9 counties with a home rule charter and is still subject to Oregon law in regards to county officials and their duties. They said duties. Moving on to something from USA Today on MSN.com, December 2023. Why are some Nevada Republicans rejecting Article 5 from the U.S. Constitution? From the article, those who want to dismiss the Founders' Article 5 Convention provisions are satisfied with reducing the options available for initiating proposals of useful alterations from 51 to just 1. Only 1. Congress. I want my fellow Nevadans to know their position is not a mere difference of opinions with others on what issues should or should not be addressed on Article 5 Convention. The consequence of this exclusive clarity is that altogether reject the Founding Fathers' provision. They reject this part of our U.S. Constitution entirely out of hand. Moving on, we have an update from the Iowa, from a previous headline from Iowa. From the BBC on December 15th of 2023. U.S. man charged over damage to Satanic Temple display in Iowa. To quote the article, a political candidate from Mississippi has been arrested after a conventional satanic... A political candidate from Mississippi has been arrested after a controversial satanic temple display inside the Iowa Capitol was partially destroyed. Michael Cassidy, 35, is a former U.S. Navy pilot who recently lost in a race for the Mississippi State Legislature. Mr. Cassidy has been charged with fourth-degree criminal mischief, the Iowa Department of Public Safety said. If convicted, he faces a maximum sentence of a year in prison and a $2,560 or £1,996 fine. A £2,000 fine? That sounds like a ton of trouble to me. That last joke was in there for you, Wasabi. Well, for you, who's that girl? Jennifer Weston, Akika Calde, all of my friends in Britain. I've been working on how to make a joke about a £2,000 fine. And then this just sort of popped in, and it's like, oh, I got it! A ton of trouble. Now, moving on to a segment that, in general, is a bit more serious. The war on education. From thegist.com. I think that's supposed to be December 4th. But it says Dev 4. So either it was the 4th developer of 2023 or it's December 4th of 2023. The gender identity war intensifies. A 5th grade teacher got dismissed for reading a book. To quote the article, a suburban Atlanta school board voted to dismiss Catherine Rinderley, the teacher who dared to read a book. It sounds like a scene straight out of a North Korean movie script, but it is true. The book that she read was selected by her 5th grade class and purchased at the school book fair. My Shadow is Purple by Scott Stewart, a book about inclusion and being allowed to be yourself. It is worth reading if you get the chance and have children you feel need a book about inclusion and being allowed to be themselves. Featuring supportive parents that engage in non-traditional roles, positive expressions about getting to play with all the toys, and making sure everyone that feels a little different for any reason is included and made to feel welcome. I need a copy of that for little Z. I'm going to be buying a lot of books and toys ostensibly for Lil Z, but really for me. Reading through the book, the first thought that comes to mind is that the people that made this decision would probably also dismiss a teacher for reading My Many Colored Days. I bet you do, Kat. Kat says that she has a book list. Um, you know, if we can figure out how to publish that, that would be publish that list either, well, put up that list either here on Twitch or over on YouTube or both places. That would be good. Give resources to not just me, but everybody who is going to be parenting in the near future or recent past. Anyway, moving on to something from Fox News from December 11th of 2023. Christian teachers still locked out of the classroom after refusing to lie to parents. Quote, 2 Christian teachers in California are pursuing legal action against a school district over a gender policy that they claim forces them to deceive parents about students' secret gender transitions. The lawsuit was filed in April 2023. In September 2023, a judge temporarily halted the enforcement of the district's policy, and as of December, nothing further had happened. The Escondido Union School District's policy is school staff must keep students' transgender or gender non-confirming identity private, including to their parents, unless the student gives written consent or unless disclosure is otherwise required by law or necessary to protect the student. It is noted that this policy is in line with state education guidance and good sense. Unfortunately, there is an update from National Review on January 16th of 2024. Christian teachers reinstated after being placed on leave for refusing to conceal child gender issues from parents. A federal judge ruled that the district's policy violated the 14th Amendment. Quote, it harms plaintiffs who are compelled to violate their parents' rights by forcing plaintiffs to conceal information they feel is critical for the welfare of their students, unquote. It should be noted that the state of California currently has a legal case in progress against a different school district for their enactment of a policy that is essentially the direct opposite of EUSD's policy. I have so many opinions about this. That we're going to move on, or else we'd be here for a long, long time. Moving on to a special Why Florida Why and War on Education crossover article from WCPO 9 Cincinnati. Dictionaries are among the 1,600 books pulled from Florida School District. Quote, Escambia County School District will no longer carry 5 dictionaries, 8 encyclopedias, some Guinness World Records books, various books detailing diseases, and more. While technically not banned yet, the books are being reviewed by a certified media specialist, whatever that means, for content that goes against Florida House Bill 1069. ASOC Prod note, they really probably should have made sure that this bill had a different number. There is no information at this time on when or if the dictionaries and encyclopedias will be returned. Of special note, this story has had such an outlandish and exaggerated quality to it that Snopes.com has written an entire article about it. And moving on, this takes us nicely into why Florida, why? Because why? I mean, seriously, why? Why Florida? First up, from the LA Times, December 13th of 2023. DeSantis bragged about a COVID study during Newsom debate. Not so fast, lead author says. Pardon me. Quote, if DeSantis is using the study as an example to support the message that masks or staying at home or vaccines did not matter in this pandemic, then that would be using the study inappropriately. Because that is not what it shows, said Thomas J. Balaki. Balikai. Not Balaki, because that means something completely different. Especially, again, to our British viewers. Director of the Global Health Program at the Council on Foreign Relations, a nonpartisan think tank. Now, is anyone really surprised by DeSantis' inappropriate use of studies? I mean, kinda sounds like something he does, especially with the inappropriate use of studies for the bathroom bills, where he was inappropriately proposing to study anatomy. That is inappropriate studies. Inappropriate use of studies. Next up, from Wyoming News Now, December 12th of 2023. Couple arrested for keeping young children in makeshift cages, police say. Quote, a couple arrested for allegedly keeping their two children, ages 6 and 2, in makeshift cages were employed by the University of Florida, unquote. Even Wyoming, which doesn't exist, is boggled by Florida. Uncle Randy, I gotta ask, what in the heck you been doing, Uncle Randy? I mean, I remember you joking about Munchausen by proxy. But there is such a thing as taking that joke just a little too far. Cousin Crystal, if you need help, blink twice. Moving on to something from WMBF News and the AP. WMBF News and the Associated Press. December 12th of 2023, Florida finds high school student adding words. Florida finds high school for allowing transgender student to play girls volleyball. The school was found in violation of a controversial law enacted by Governor Ron DeSantis and the legislature. From the article, quote, the Florida High School Athletic Association fined Monarch, the mighty Monarch High, $16,500, ordered the principal and athletic director to attend rules seminars, and placed the suburban Fort Lauderdale school on probation for 11 months, meaning further violations could lead to increased punishments. The association also barred the girl from participating I don't know that we want to say girl. I think we want to say person. Barred the person from participating in boys' sports for 11 months. The 2021 law, which supporters named the Fairness in Women's Sports Act, bars transgender girls and women from playing on public school teams intended for student athletes. Also, apparently, bans transgender boys and men. Bans transgender girls and women from playing on public school teams intended for student athletes identified as girls at birth. Why, Florida? The student, a 10th grader who played in 33 matches over the last 2 seasons, was removed from the team last month after Broward County School District was notified by an anonymous tipster about her participation. Her removal led hundreds of Mighty Monarch students to walk out of class, Solidarity, 2 weeks ago in protest. To which we here say, Solidarity, sister, keep the faith. The article goes on to quote Education Commissioner Manny Diaz in a public statement. Thanks to the leadership of Governor DeSantis, Florida passed a legislation to protect girls' sports. We will not tolerate any school that violates this law. Again, that's Education Commissioner Manny Diaz, a public official in charge of the health and well-being of children. I'll let that thought hang in the air like the odious human waste emissions of hot air that best represents Education Commissioner Manny Diaz and Ronald, happy to be in distant second place. At least they like me better than a woman, DeSantis. Thank you for the lurk, Wasabi. Lurk well. We shall see you later on, hopefully. And that brings us to the end of our show. Thank you for joining us, friends. I have been, and hopefully will be again in the future, your host, Trevor Stewart. And as they say around here, 2 up, 2 down. VA, double deuces. I'm out, y'all. Don't forget to stick around for the raid out.